clients, like when I told them, it was like, oh, this is going to be something. And at the time, I'm like, this is all interesting, but I think there is something special about that country.
Never seen one, never seen any guy. I never been around a black man who had 100 million to $1 billion before, till I went to Ghana.
You are looking at roughly $1,500 a month. That's you living in Accra.
Charlie, Americans are sharing their wonderful and amazing experience that they had visiting Ghana and some other African countries. Charlie, this is something that I've actually heard over and over again. When African Americans or Black Americans travel to Ghana, whenever they get here, they talk about this healing, this feeling that they get whenever they arrive here. But as I always say, I don't want to talk plenty. Let's go into the video. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe.
Ghana is one of those portals for healing for Black people. I felt that while I was there. It was confirmed after visiting other countries. I am curious to see if that same portal to healing is on just in West Africa generally, but Ghana is one of those portals to healing. That sense of safety, the people, the lessons learned, the visiting places where our ancestors were, the dungeons, and then things like drumming and naming ceremonies and connections. It's just a portal to healing. And reflecting back on those weeks before the trip, I feel like other people have had a similar experience, only because even if they were from other countries in Africa, people were so excited about me visiting Ghana with my daughter. I'm just thinking back to the pharmacist who was from Ethiopia and hugged me and my daughter. Like, as she's giving us the vaccines, she like hugged us like, this is amazing. You're going to love it. The Ghanaian people are special. The way my daughter's pediatrician responded when she knew that we were going, or people who had been to Ghana before, or many of my clients, like when I told them, it was like, oh, this is going to be something. And at the time, I'm like, this is all interesting, but I think there is something special about that country. And if you've been to Ghana or other West African countries, can you share your experience? Did you feel that same sense of healing while you were visiting, or did you have a completely different experience? Let us know in the chats.
I think one of the most significant things about Ghana, the continent as a whole, is when you arrive, the air, right? And then when you touch the ground, there's something visceral that happens, at least to me.
Yeah.
A lot of people tell me the same thing. And then the sounds and the people, and immediately my shoulders like sort of fall like an inch or two. It de-stresses me like immediately.
Man, yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Because your subconscious, your double consciousness goes away, and you're just you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's no need for any explanation or validation or verification or anything. You're just you, and the country embraces you.
I went to Ghana, and it was the first time I hung around a Black billionaire. Never seen one, never seen any guy. I never been around a Black man who had 100 million to $1 billion before, till I went to Ghana. And his name is Freedom. He owned a Black-owned hotel. It had like maybe 14 floors. Had a penthouse at the top. He had everybody dressed up like it was luxury, like butlers, suit, tie, everything. The waiters, they were all respectful and Black. And the food was 5 stars. This is a Black man with Black employees with 5-star food in a 5-star looking hotel. Like, hotel looks better than everything you could think of. The room itself, the food, the room service. And I was like, what?
I'm reporting some important information for Black Americans. They are not wearing dashikis out here. I'm in Ghana. That's not a thing. We made that up or something. They is not in dashikis around here.
Yeah, when people ask me would I move to Accra again, my answer is yes. But I have to be African rich. And do you know what African rich looks like? That looks like when you can pay $100,000 in cash for your house, when you can pay $25,000 in cash for your car. It's when you can afford a nanny, a cleaner, and a assistant. Because the struggle is real. If you do not have the funds, the struggle is real. Accra is expensive. Oh, it is very expensive. Rent is the same as what I pay here in the US. It's not about who you know. It's not about none of that. Accra is insanely expensive. So if you are looking for a home with just basic plumbing, maybe a generator, maybe, let's just say decent plumbing, okay? You are looking at roughly $1,500 a month. That's you living in Accra. Now, other parts of Ghana, that's not my area expertise. I don't know. But to me, it just did not make sense anymore. We in America, unfortunately, are used to having a credit system. We're used to having government assistance. We're used to the economy being better. So if you go over there, understand and know that you are on your own. You have to be sovereign. You have to be sustainable. Do not go over there relying on U.S. systems to take care of you. When you go over there, understand that you can start a business, but it's not going to boom right away. It doesn't even happen like that in the U.S. Understand when you start a business in Ghana that you have to work and go by their cultural norms. Meaning that if you hire a staff, understand that they are not going to come on time. Understand that they might not show up at all. That is their cultural norms, which in the end will cost you money. And when you think about it in the long haul, do you have that type of money to lose? I didn't. And I had to be real with myself about it. As much as I love the freedom, the peace, the beaches, the people, the vibes, I couldn't afford it. And I had to be real with myself about that. So before you go ahead and backpack, sell everything in America, do all of that stuff, understand that there may be a high possibility that it is not what you think it's going to be. And that's okay. It's about the experience. I don't regret it at all. Me and my husband got to spend time. I got to learn everything about that side of the family. I enjoyed myself. I don't regret not a thing.
I know you've heard stories about how Africans sold Africans into slavery across Africa. Yes, it's true. Black on black crime has been a painful part of our history, and unfortunately, is still happening today. While I was in Tanzania, I learned a little bit about the East Africa slave trade, how it got started, and how Arabs were involved.
There are some tribes in Africa which participate in slave trade, like Nyamwezi, Yao, Kamma tribe.
And guess why they sold out fellow Africans?
Because they would get paid for that, they give their armies and went to ambush the village and took the people and sent to Zanzibar.
East African rulers helped open the door to slavery, but Arabs were the primary organizers of the East and North Africa slave trade. Tore families apart.
They had to give out their children.
Imagine if our ancestors united back then. Imagine if we stood together today. African children and adults in Congo are enslaved and killed mining resources for our smartphones. A genocide is taking place in Sudan over gold, reportedly funded by the UAE. Unarmed Tanzanians and Ugandans were slaughtered protesting unfair elections. If you are a Pan-African content creator or influencer, I encourage you to speak up for those who can't.
I think I got your beat.
Yeah. Whoa. What you got?
Boris Frederick Tenate Oforte Kojo.
Whoa. Oh, he
not bad. Fuerte Kocho, not bad.
Yeah, he effed yours up.
No, he
yours is left in the dust.
But he didn't. It always happens. But yours, I told you, he's like.
How many letters is that?
Boris is 5. B-O-R-I-S. Frederick Tenate.
Jeez.
Damn. Damn.
He's still counting.
He's like.
Yeah, I got your beat.
What you got?
I got 34. I counted 34.
I think he beat.
He got beat. Oh, no.
But Frederick.
We're awaiting the official count. Wait, hold it. Hold it.
Were you Boris after Karloff or
No,
not Becker?
No, clearly.
They're not right.
I was named after Boris Pasternak, who was a Russian poet and an author.
Okay.
And he wrote a movie called Dr. Zhivago.
I saw Zhivago with Omar Sharif.
Incredible.
It's very
Epic.
It's very strange because they're doing Russian accents, but they're British. It's very weird.
Just like American movies. They do Russian accents and
it's very strange. But Zhivago, that's one of my mom's favorite. One of my mom's favorite.
My parents' favorite movie.
Zhivago.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool. I gotta check that. I've not seen that.
Oh, it's epic.
But before we get too deep, though,
Boom! 43.
You got 43?
Yeah, you got beat.
Wait, no.
Yeah.
No, wait. Hold on. Let's go like the NFL.
And he wins again.
Let's go to New York. Hold on. Let's get a review. Did you say 43?
43.
Damn.
Dang, go.
Boom!
Beat you.
All right. Well, let me just sit back. I used to be so proud, like nobody's gonna beat this one. Yeah, let me just say, keep going. Yeah, gotcha.
Because his is like you beat him.
Yeah.
Dang. Because when you said Boris Frederick, I go, oh, he's probably gonna lose.
Well,
and then you say,
no, it was this that got me. He kept doing this.
Yeah, when you were doing this, you were like, you were just fanning like,
You know how it usually slow down when you know you're getting towards the end?
He kept going. He kept flipping.
Well, there's certain elements you have to have in your name, right?
No doubt.
I'm sorry, what is it? 39.
Is that the official count?
That's the
count
official
one
count.
more time. We need it one more time. Right.
Junior.
Yeah. No, 32. 30, so he got me, so 39.
No, it's a wide margin. So every name serves a purpose, right? So got the first name. Then Frederick, that's my uncle.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Honoring my uncle. And Cecil is my grandfather.
Okay.
Tenate means firstborn son.
Okay, firstborn.
Yeah, and then Oforte Kojo is a double name. So that's the tribe. That's my my ancestry.
Oh, wow.
It goes way.
Dope.
And then Kojo.
And I'm seeing your Adinkra signs. I have my whole Ghanaian history is on my arm too.
Yeah, it's my Igbo.
Yeah.
Laying right there.
Oh, wow, that's cool, man.
Yeah, all right.
That's pretty cool, man.
Recently, Stephanie Perry posted a video titled, "Some Black People Moving Abroad Are Agents of White Supremacy." Stephanie is a very well-known social media influencer with a very large following, and I have a lot of admiration for her personally. She helps Black women plan their exits from the United States, and I'm going to link her video in the description of this one because it really inspired what I'm going to talk about in this video. But I want to be clear about a couple things up front. This is a topic I've been thinking about for a long time. I just wasn't sure if I wanted to articulate it publicly because it is kind of a hot button. But since Stephanie led the way and decided to say something plainly, I'm going to say something about it too from my perspective. And the question that I want to ask is this: are Black people acting like white supremacists abroad? More specifically, you may be Black, but are you bringing white supremacist American thinking and behavior with you when you move abroad and when you travel? That's the question that has come to my mind over and over again, and I really appreciated how well Stephanie articulated it. And from my vantage point, living where I live, traveling how I travel, and observing what I observe, the answer for many of you is a resounding yes. Brings me no joy to say this. It really doesn't. But it does need to be said. Because many of us say we are rejecting white supremacy, and anti-Blackness by leaving the United States. But what I'm seeing is that many of us are actually bringing the core architecture of white supremacy with us when we move abroad and when we travel. One of the biggest parts of this is the idea of American exceptionalism, the belief that the United States is the standard, that other countries should aspire to be like it, that if a place doesn't operate like the United States of America, then something is wrong with the place. So many people move or travel and immediately start evaluating places and practices based on how closely they resemble or align with the USA. They complain about noise, they complain about efficiency, they complain about streets, timing, infrastructure. Instead of asking why things are the way they are, they decide the place is deficient. This is white supremacist thinking and behavior. Another major piece of this is aggressive land ownership. This is very American behavior. An American hyper-capitalist belief that you can't just enjoy a place, you have to own a piece of it. You visit somewhere, you like it, and instead of simply experiencing it or living within it, you feel compelled to buy it. Europeans also like to do this. I resisted that intentionally when I moved to Mexico. I thought seriously about buying a condo, buying a house, and then I decided not to. Not because I couldn't, but because I didn't want to recreate the same stresses, the same pressures of upkeep and taking care of a house and the anxiety around ownership that I had in the United States. I didn't want to reproduce American capitalist logic in another country. Many people told me I was crazy, that I should have made the investment. But what they were really saying was, why wouldn't you bring American ownership culture with you? And I see Americans doing this everywhere. White Americans primarily, but Black Americans too. I see it where I live in Mexico in San Miguel de Allende. I see it all over Mexico. People come in, they buy up property, drive up prices, and push local people out of their very own neighborhoods. And it enrages me, frankly, because I lived through this even before I moved to the United States. I lived in Washington, D.C., as many of you know. And for many years, it was a very affordable place to live when I moved there. And then I watched white Americans avoid these neighborhoods. They called them dangerous. They called them bad. They called them undesirable and worthless. The places that Black Americans had lived historically, that Black people had moved into, built community. Some of them had restored homes. Some of them owned homes for years and years. They made these neighborhoods vibrant places to live. Then suddenly the white people wanted them. They came in with their money. They bought everything. They pushed and priced people out. And now I'm watching that same behavior exported globally. I saw it clearly in St. Thomas, where I recently visited, watching white Americans just aggressively taking over the islands, buying land, controlling access, reshaping communities around their comfort. I've seen the same thing in Mexico. I've seen it on the African continent. I've talked to people who told me how governments have allowed wealthy Europeans and Americans to buy up property, especially beachfront property, and then told the locals they couldn't use the property. For example, you can't play soccer on the beach or volleyball on the beach there anymore. I've spoken to people who told me they couldn't fish in certain places. They couldn't swim in certain places because they had been sold to white people, primarily Americans and Europeans. This is white supremacy. This is colonialist behavior. This is capitalism wrapped in entitlement. And what deeply disturbs me is watching some of us replicate the same behavior, even on a smaller scale, and pretend it's different just because we're Black. It's not. Some of us say we want to move to majority Black countries, the Caribbean, the African continent, but what you actually want is to create a little mini America somewhere else, a little mini USA. And ain't nobody asked you to come into their country and do that. And nobody wants it. And this shows up in everyday behavior. I'm in many Mexico-related Facebook groups. And white people and Black people too, who move abroad, participate in these forums and groups. And someone is always coming in and complaining about noise, especially here in Mexico, complaining about fireworks, especially here in Mexico, complaining about dogs barking, asking who they can call, who they can report it to, asking about dog shelters, asking how to get stray dogs off the street. Did anybody ask you to take them dogs off the street? This is white supremacist behavior. I said what I said. In the United States, dogs are often treated as if they're more important than people. That value system is rooted in control, order, and policing behavior, which are foundational to white supremacy. That's why Americans are obsessed with quiet. But in Mexico, noise is part of the culture. Fireworks are celebration. Dogs barking are part of daily life. Complaining about that is being disrespectful to the culture of the country and the people who are local to it. If you don't like dogs barking, get some fucking earplugs or move your ass back to America. And this obsession with control is tied to that race to ownership. I recently encountered someone who had been in my town less than 6 months, had already bought property, and then was complaining about dogs barking. And my first thought was maybe if you had rented before you had purchased, learned more about the place you had moved to, maybe you would have known that the dogs barking come with the neighborhood. Dog barking is a thing everywhere in Mexico. There's nowhere you can go to escape it. And if that's a problem, maybe you shouldn't live in Mexico. Because ownership does not equal belonging somewhere. And rushing to own without understanding the place you're in creates resentment, and then people blame the culture instead of their own choices. And this isn't just about moving. It's also about travel. I do group trips, so I get to hear things that people say when they're abroad. I'm lucky because most of the people on my trips do not exhibit this behavior. And I think part of it is because I try to prep them and set expectations ahead of time. But I travel a lot, and I travel solo a lot, and I hear things, y'all. Some of those people are not white people. Some of these people I'm talking about, they're not white people. Some of them are black. And I cannot overemphasize this. The United States is not exceptional, except in how deeply entrenched it is in white supremacy and hypercapitalism. It is exceptional about that. I love the narrow cobblestone streets of San Miguel de Allende. Are they always convenient? No. But they are part of what makes the place beautiful. I don't want them widened. I don't want them paved over. I don't want them changed. I want the place I live in to stay exactly the way that it is. I love the coffee culture in Italy. The seriousness, the precision, the pride. I love the pride Portuguese people take in being Portuguese, even though they do gloss over their colonialism and their role in the transatlantic slave trade. I don't go anywhere thinking this would be better if it were more like the US, and too many of us do. And now this part matters quite a bit. I recently attended a Black History Month festival in the town where I live here in Mexico. And I loved it. I loved everything about it. And I'm glad that we did it. And I hope we keep doing it. What made it powerful was that the organizers intentionally wove Afro-Latino and Afro-Mexican culture into the festival. Afro-Mexican history was included. Afro-Latino artists performed. Afro-Latino culture was also a part of it and was centered. It wasn't just American Blackness exported and imposed. It was a beautiful thing. And that matters because there are other people organizing things that happen in my town that don't take that kind of care about what they do. Which brings me to culture and language. Living in Mexico has taught me that respect and formality matters. Traveling other parts of the country and the world has taught me this too. You greet people before you speak. I spend a lot of time observing and watching how people interact, listening to how they speak in Spanish. That's a lot about how I learn, not just about how to say things, but how and when to say them. Saying hola, buenos dias goes a long way. I had an experience in a store recently where I stopped myself, corrected how I was speaking to someone, and remembered that I needed to greet them first before I asked them to do anything for me. And I watched how that person's entire demeanor changed towards me when I said hello and good morning and excuse me in Spanish before I asked them anything. That is culture. And I've had the same lesson reinforced in St. Thomas by tour guides who explicitly told me in a tour, it's really important for you to greet people first. A lot of times, Americans think they're being mistreated abroad when really they just don't have any fucking manners. And language matters too. I've lived in Mexico almost 5 years now, and I am not fluent in Spanish, and that's on me. So I'm taking lessons, I use Google Translate, and I apologize to people in Spanish when I don't have the right words to communicate with them. I don't expect accommodations from them. If there's a language barrier, that is my responsibility and my fault. It's not theirs. And that mindset changes how people treat you, because you're not bringing that American expectation that everyone must make your life easier and things easier for you. And finally, I just want to say this. I didn't move to Mexico just to run away from something. I moved because I was running towards something, towards a different way of living and life, a different way of existing. Not better, just different. Too many of us as Black people are running away without thinking about what we're running towards. Moving abroad is not just about mechanics. It's about how to be in a different place. And that's why my friend Michelle and I are going to be doing another Zoom call about moving to Mexico and things that people need to think about when they think about moving abroad. We did one last year for my anti-HR community, and it was very well attended and received. This time we're opening up to my Bald Girl Will Travel community and subscribers, as well as my anti-HR community and subscribers. There will be 50 spots available. Once they're gone, they're gone. This conversation will go deeper into everything I've talked about here in this video. Not just how to move, but how to exist once you get there, things you need to think about. Invitations will only go out to my subscribers. So if you're interested, make sure you are subscribed to one of the communities that I mentioned. Before you run away, ask yourself what you're running towards. And ask yourself whether you're willing to change your behavior. Same thing goes for when you're traveling. That's my Monday musing. If you enjoyed this video, take a moment and give it a like, comment, but do so constructively, and do subscribe, not just to this channel or wherever you're watching it, but also to my website. This is Anne Marie. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Honestly, this is something that I've heard over and over and over and over again. I've been sharing videos here, and most of the times they talk about this. You being an African, a typical African, you will not understand. Even being a Ghanaian, I all the time say that Ghana is a very special country on this continent of Africa. People might not understand, but Ghana is a very special country because even being a Ghanaian, you travel outside of this country, and the moment you travel out and you experience other countries, immediately you realize, no, Ghana is different. Ghana, because the behavior of people, the way they relate to even foreigners or other people, and the country itself, you clearly see the difference between Ghana and other countries. So I'm not so surprised when foreigners or African Americans travel into this country and they say they feel special, they feel something within themselves. And this other African American who was talking about Cheddar, he's basically talking about Cheddar and his hotel in Osu Oxford Street. That building or that hotel, it's 5-star. The things you can find in that particular building, I'm very sure there are some hotels in certain places in Europe or even in America that you can never find there. That's why it's a 5-star hotel and it's very expensive. It's for expensive people. And let's move to this woman that was talking about Americans, or some Americans, when they come to Africa, they bring that white supremacy attitude into Africa. That is very true. That is very true. And I think if they can reorient their mindsets and come here with a free mind, without any prejudice or whatever, I'm telling you, you will enjoy Africa. You will enjoy Africa. But the moment you come in with that particular attitude, don't expect what is in America in Africa. Africa is different from America. So the moment you decide that you want to travel here, have an open mind. That's when you will enjoy Africa. But if you are making it look like whatever that is in America, you want to experience that in Africa, that's where you get it totally wrong. So get that straight. Thank you so much for watching.